Welcome to the Coffee Club, broadcasting live from New York with your host, Felix, and co-host, Dr. Mark. So let's have a cup of coffee and enjoy the show.
There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
I know where we are. We're live in New York, Oceanside, New York. And this is the Coffee Club. I'm your host, Felix, and my co-host, Mark, has not found it fit to call in yet. We're not together tonight. We are broadcasting from two separate facilities. Basically, Mark will just be calling in from his house, and I don't know what his problem is, that he can't call in at 9 o'clock like he's supposed to. But I want to say good evening and welcome to the show. Today's show is going to be basically sports, weather, politics, news, all the topics we normally speak about. But we're going to put it into all into just one show. You know, ISIS is still doing their thing, beheading the two Japanese people, having a good time while everybody else just watches and waits for somebody else to do something about him. Putin is still sticking his nose in Ukraine and making things bad for the people in eastern Ukraine still. Weather. Well, we've been having plenty of weather here in the East Coast. It's been snowy and cold. Parts of New York and the Northeast and Massachusetts had record-breaking storms, snowstorms. So we've had a little bit of everything all over the place. And so, of course, now there's a Super Bowl. New England won. I guess Brady didn't have to deflate his balls twice in 2 weeks in a row. So it's been an interesting week. And, with all the things that we can do about the things that are going on, we can't control the weather. We can't really control the sports. But we can control the stuff going in ISIS. And it looks like the only thing we can do these days is this. It will start.
Anytime, anywhere I can pray, and Jehovah will hear what I say. When each morning I wake, I remember to take just a moment to thank Him for this day, for the wonders I find on the way. In my mind, in my heart, I can pray. Still Jehovah will hear me anyway. Anytime, anywhere I can pray, and Jehovah will hear what I say. In the night He will hear when I call. He is near. Anytime, anywhere I can pray.
I can pray. We could pray, and we could all pray that things get better in the world. But sometimes prayer is just not enough, and mankind has to take action. Because the people who are causing all this ISIS, they pray 3 times a day or 5 times a day, whatever it is. But what they're praying for is that we're all dead. They want to see us all dead, all converting to Islam. They're radicals. So praying is important, but right now, what's more important is, what's more important. It's more important to take action. And I see that, I believe the doc is joining us now. Let's see where he is.
What's going on?
Hey, Doc, you're late.
No, not really. Considering our record with getting started at 9 o'clock, I figured I'm early.
Well, the only way you could figure that, you had to try.
Well, I did.
But you tried late.
What's going on?
Not much. It's not like you had a long walk today. How is it outside?
Not this time. Not this time. So, what's going on? What are you talking about?
I'm just giving him a synopsis of what we're going to talk about today. News, politics, and sports.
True, and the weather. Don't forget the weather.
Oh, yeah, no, I mentioned the weather. The weather...
Got plenty to talk about with the weather.
Well, yeah, it sucks. It's cold.
Well, people
snow.
keep forgetting that it's wintertime. I mean, this is what you could expect in January and February, especially in New York. You think it's over and done with, and then later on in the afternoon it starts snowing again.
Yeah, well, it is the winter, like you said, but I'd rather just be in Florida right now.
I think a lot of people would. My friend keeps asking me, he said, I don't understand you New Yorkers, and he was from New Jersey. We grew up together in Rockaway, but he was originally, from New Jersey, and he said, it's so beautiful down here. He said, I don't know why anybody would be up north, But, hey, look, it's what you get used to.
It's what you get used to, and a lot of it is family. We're all tied down to a family. We have kids. We have parents here.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the more you talk to people, a lot of people, those who can afford it become snowbirds. They keep something up here, up north, and they go down to Florida in the winter, but even those who live down there year-round, they work something out with the kids, they either fly the kids down or they come up, and visit, so, that's what it is. I mean, the old days of family being within, to the walking distance of each other, was long gone. I remember, I had aunts and uncles who lived in Brooklyn. My grandparents lived in Brooklyn. I had an aunt and uncle who lived in the Bronx, and that was like the end of the world,
Well, that might be in your family. My family, my wife will not leave her family. She's got her parents.
Like I say, it's what you get used to.
Well,
you have a brother. You have a brother down in Virginia, and it's just very common, especially with cousins. The cousins all grew up, pretty close as far as usually weekends were spent. I know in my family, you go to one grandparent, you go to the other grandparent, and the cousins were always coming along and always there. But then the cousins go to college and get married, and they live wherever the jobs are,
Yeah, but like I said, my family, it's a little different. My wife will not budge because she has her parents and she has her grandchild, and her two kids, obviously, but her grandchild is very important.
Yeah, but that still doesn't make a difference, because people down in Florida who are our age have grandchildren, and what they do is they come up and visit, or they fly their kids down, with the grandchildren, So it's whatever you get used to.
Yeah. I'm just saying, my wife, I can't. My wife would not leave them. There's no.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, those who remain, it's hard for them, to just be, occasional grandparents. They want to be more than just occasional grandparents. But I mean, I bet if you were to go into an elementary school and talk to the kids, grandma and grandpa live in Arizona, or grandma and grandpa live in Florida, any place but up north,
That's true.
But anyway, that's one of the things we're talking about. The other stuff, like I say, we a little touch on the weather, and I watched my usual news programs this weekend, and it seems ISIS now is holding a woman hostage, and they're threatening to kill her. They were talking today about, if they do, are they going to behead her? What are they going to do? How are they going to do it? And then what would that look like in the Arab world? I mean, yes, women are subjugated to the men and everything, but cut off the head of a woman? I don't know. It might not look too good. So they've been talking about that. They were talking on the news about, about 200 Marines training 5,000 Afghanis to defend themselves, so that they can start taking over the ground war. Because you have people like Lindsey Graham and John McCain saying we need boots on the ground, and Americans are tired of, constant war, perpetual wars, especially in the Middle East. It's not our war, and it's a war that the people in the Middle East are going to have to learn to solve by themselves. The longer we stay, the more enemies we make. People resent us for being there. They have to train, the Afghanis to fly so they can take over some of the air support. I mean, we can't constantly do this because for the next 100 years we'll be fighting in the Middle East. We'll be dragged into their war.
And what do you think we should do about ISIS?
No boots on the ground, that's for sure. At least not our boots. I mean, you have look at the problems. Look at the problems with our soldiers having 4 and 5 deployments and suffering from PTSD, and they come home and they can't relate to their families. They can't relate to friends. They have all of these problems. In World War II, they used to call it shell shock, So, I mean, in Vietnam, you served a 10-month deployment, and the only way you went back there is if you volunteered. Now, you could be, sign up for 2 years in the Army or whatever, and then you go into the Army Reserves, and now reservists are called up. You have no control over that. You can't say, I won't go, So, no way to live.
Well, first thing is, when we were in Vietnam, there were draftees. Now they're volunteers. So they should know
but volunteers up to a certain point. They're not volunteering for 4, 5, and 6 deployments. That's
volunteer to join the Army. There's no guarantees in the Army. Once you join the Army, what you're going to be doing. I mean, that's it. If you're volunteering and you go in the Army and you're going to be a foot soldier, these days the odds are you're going to be a foot soldier.
Well, the only way. Listen, I almost hate to say this, but the only way for Americans to give a damn one way or the other is if you had a draft, okay? Because